Welcome to Defending Your Faith, Lesson 1, an Introduction to Apologetics. Today we are going to learn exactly what is apologetics and how can we use it in our everyday lives. First of all, let's take a look at the term apologetic. It comes from the Latin term apologia, and it means to defend, especially in the case of Christianity, to defend one's faith. Why do you believe what you believe, and how do you know it's true? And that is what we will be discovering throughout this course of videos. Several people have been converted to Christianity by trying to disprove the Christian faith through study in historical events and studying science, studying archaeology, and so forth. But all of the evidence that they were coming up with showed how true Christianity actually was. Thus, they were converted to Christianity. I'd like to tell you about a couple of these people. One of them is C.S. Lewis, who wrote a book called Surprised by Joy. This goes through and talks a little bit about his discoveries. Josh McDowell was another one who wrote a book called The New Evidence. And finally, Lee Strobel, who wrote The Case for Christ. And this particular book has a CD that you can watch, or it also has a child's version if you're interested in getting it for your children. And so these are great resources to learn more about apologetics. Now, why do we need to study apologetics? We need to study apologetics because, number one, the Bible tells us so, and we'll discover that where that's located here in just a moment. And number two, when we are witnessing to other people, or when we are talking with other people and they have questions, we need to be able to give them a good, educated answer, and not just something like, well, I feel this way, or I just know it's right, or I feel inspired by God. And there are hard, concrete evidences that we can use, and those are some of the things that we are going to be discovering. Now, one of the first reasons why we want to be able to use apologetics is to evangelize. God tells us that we need to go out into all the world and tell others the good news of Jesus Christ and the gospel. And a lot of times while evangelizing, we'll come up with questions, and apologetics will help us when those questions arise. Now, in case you're not familiar with how to evangelize, I have a video from Todd Friel, and he is showing how to share the gospel message with others. I believe he's either on a plane or a train, and he is sitting next to a gentleman, and he is taking him through the gospel lesson. So go ahead and sit back. It is about a 10-minute video, but it's well worth the watch. And we will visit a little bit more after the video is over.
Simon, what happened to your arm here?
I lost my finger on barbed wire.
Kind of nasty. All right, Simon, if you went to the doctor and the doctor said, Simon, I don't want to examine you, I don't want to take any tests because I think it might be bad news and I just want you to like me. And he sent you on your way without taking care of you because he thought you might think he was a bad man for giving you bad news. What would you think of that doctor?
I would think he's a very incompetent doctor.
A bad doctor?
Oh, yeah.
All right, hold
But
that.
not a bad person.
But not a bad person. No. Even though he could have helped you, but he didn't.
That would make him a bad person, yes.
Okay, here we go. I want to ask you.
Now that you've finished watching the video, I would like to point out just a couple of things. The first thing I'd like to point out is when Todd was evangelizing to this gentleman, he led in by talking about something that was familiar to the gentleman, and most importantly, he sat and he actually listened to what the gentleman had to say, and he used that as part of his doorway to getting the gospel in, and also just understanding where the gentleman is coming from. And that will come into play a little bit later on when we're talking more about how apologetics can be used with evangelism. The next thing he did was he took him through the 10 Commandments, not all of them, but a few of them, to show him that he was indeed in need of a Savior. And then he went in and talked about the gospel. And he did use a few tools that we will learn throughout this course in his evangelizing.